Aftermath of an Act Gone Too Far. Written by Bellamont. Read by The Viridian Ghost. This is part 3 of the personality swap AU. Let's get into the summary. Summary. And here I thought that was beat out of you years ago. Shouta had some concerns about some things that Midoriya said while acting as Bakugou. A long-needed talk finally occurs. Shouta has had his fun, sending Midoriya to act as different miniature versions of himself for the entirety of Tuesday. It's amusing, seeing how the problem child's peers and Tazashi freak out over the acting skills that Midoriya holds. Shouta is most impressed by the boy's ability to wield the capture weapon, which he has apparently got by sneaking into his dorm, having snatched the key off Hizashi somehow, despite having zero training with the thing. But the events of the day are unimportant. Right now, Shouta has something else to focus on. Midoriya, Shouta says as the bell rings, for the second day in a row. Stay after again, will you? Midoriya agrees easily, although this time he's less hesitant and more excited. Eager. He thinks that Shouta will give him another person to imitate. Well, Shouta definitely will in the future, but that isn't what Shouta wants to talk about today. That's not what he wants to talk about. It's not that he wants to talk about the topic at hand, necessarily. Rather, Shouta wishes that he could have the conversation they're about to have would never have been needed. He wishes that his student could just have a normal, kami forbid it, normal childhood. One that Midoriya could look back on fondly, because the world knows his high school years haven't been made of sunshine and rainbows. But no, that'd be too nice of the world, wouldn't it? Instead, the world must have wanted Izuku Midoriya to be the real-life equivalent of a goddamn anime protagonist, because the boy seems to have more problems than Shouta realized. He just hopes he's over-exaggerating, overthinking things, and taking Midoriya's comment a touch too far. But it's better to be safe than sorry, and Shouta thinks he has had too many sorries this year to even think about not playing it safe. Not when he has a choice in the matter. So Shouta calls for Midoriya to stay back after class and ignores the part of his brain that pleads for him just to let Midoriya impersonate someone else. Maybe Nezu this time. This time, instead of prying into the boy's past, Midoriya looks up at Shouta with wide, anticipating eyes, chin barely jutting out from the capture weapon that pulls around his neck, far too big for him. He doesn't ask any questions, instead just waiting for Shouta to speak. So Shouta does. I want to ask you a question regarding Monday's activity. Shouta starts, and Midoriya blinks at him. Yes, Sensei? Midoriya prompts, and Shouta can see how the boy doesn't understand what the matter is quite yet. There was a comment you made during your spar with Bakugou that left some concerns. Shouta keeps his eyes on Midoriya, waiting for any change in the reaction. So far, nothing. I'm quoting this from what I have overheard, but I don't quite have the exact phrasing. But did you say to Bakugou that you had thought something was beat out of him years ago? And there it is. Midoriya freezes, looking like he's now recalling that moment. He opens his mouth, but Shouta isn't finished. I know that you were following the rules of the activity to the letter. You were only saying things that you thought Bakugou would actually say in this scenario. And for that specific fight, you were shouting at Bakugou as if he was actually you. So tell me, problem child. And here Shouta sees how Midoriya flinches back, eyes widening almost impossibly more. What happened at your old school that you know Bakugou would make such a statement? No, because there's no guessing here, not with Midoriya, who's curling up on himself, hands tangling into the capture weapon that he wears. Nothing, Midoriya whispers, but he's not looking at Shouta anymore. Nothing happened, Sensei. I was just taking it too far. Really? Shouta asked, in his disbelief evident in his tone. That's irrelevant. Then I suppose you don't mind explaining why you said that, if you want to say nothing happened. Midoriya's eyes meet his, suspicious, skeptical, and analyzing. Shota's words aren't what he expects, apparently, and Midoriya seems to be searching for the right response. Slowly, carefully, Midoriya responds with, I thought that might. I thought it was like Bakugou to be insulting during a fight. I thought that if I started speaking like him, that he would make an abrasive comment about how that isn't like me. I see, Shouta says, and Midoriya looks at him with obvious surprise before relaxing ever so slightly, assuming that he is in the clear far too early, because Shouta continues with, If that's truly the case, then why go so far as to say it was beat out of you? Midoriya startles again, wincing. If nothing actually happened, why didn't you make a comment about how Bakugou was mimicking you? That would also fit the boy's persona, would it not? It would, Midoriya admits, and Shouta nods. It would, Shouta repeats, and asks once more. So why did you actually make that comment? The room is silent for a moment, then another one. It stretches out, slow and uncomfortable, and just when Shouta is starting to wonder whether the problem child is actually going to speak, he does. It slipped out, Midoriya says, voice small and posture withdrawn, shoulders hunching in on the body. I didn't mean to say it, Sensei. But it's true, Shouta adds, and the barely noticeable nod makes something in his chest tighten and twist. Somebody beat you, Shouta says, because he needs to be sure that Midoriya is acknowledging this, admitting this, so that he can figure out what to do for his problem child, how to help the boy, who seems so impossibly small in this moment. Yes, Sensei, Midoriya says, and Shouta fights the urge to keep the scowl off his face. Was it a family member? He asks next, and here Midoriya jumps, shaking his head quickly, as words spew out of his mouth, denying the notion frantically. No, Mom would never. She's always done her best for me, and Dad was never around, so he couldn't hurt me. Not physically. Shouta fills in, and sighs. He's relieved at the very least that the boy's safe in his own home. But if it wasn't his family hurting you... Your peers? Shouta asks, and Midoriya flinches again, head tucking into his chest. They bullied you. It's not a question anymore. Not with how Midoriya trembles in front of him, scared and panicked. Not with how Midoriya has admitted to being beaten. Not with the nickname he sports. Same one that he shouted at Bakugou for all of Monday. Deku, Shouta starts, his mind finding something boiling in his heart with how Midoriya looks up at him with tearful eyes. It's not a good name, is it? Midoriya frowns, and Shouta hates asking, but he still does. What does it originally mean? It means worthless, Midoriya says, and Shouta hates that. It does not, Shouta denies, and Midoriya stares at him. It may be what they used it as, but it's not worthless here. Didn't you say it yourself, back when you took it as your own? Deku stands for what you mean it to be. Kid. Nothing else. Not now. Now when Shouta has a say in this goddamn mess. Midoriya starts to cry, and really, it was only a matter of time before that happened. The boy is an easy crier, and in a conversation like this, tears were bound to be shed. But luckily, those tears don't seem to be all bad, because Midoriya is staring up at him with a fire burning in his eyes, determination almost tangible. And then, inexplicably, the fire dies out, and Midoriya flinches back, head dropped, and as he murmurs, "It's because I have a quirk here." And that isn't the answer Shouta expected, not one bit. Because stating the difference between now and then, between UA and middle school, is a possession of a quirk, that can only mean you didn't have your quirk before UA. Shouta asks, and the question sounds foolish because nobody can get a quirk at such a late age. But Midoriya is nodding his head and softly admitting, "Yes, Sensei." And doesn't that explain some things about his student? Doesn't that explain the stuttering and the nerves and the flinching that he's seen the kid try and hide? Doesn't that explain why Midoriya lacks the confidence as a kid with such a strong quirk should have? Why Midoriya shies away from too much attention as if it's automatically bad? Why Midoriya seems to have no self-regard? Because he doesn't any semblance of self-worth that Midoriya may have been stolen from him, has been broken into tiny pieces, has been apparently beaten out of him. And when did you get your quirk? Shouta asks, because he needs to know this, and his heart twists and Midoriya shrinks in on himself as if trying to disappear. "The day of the entrance exam," Midoriya mumbles, and Shouta believes it, but oh, how he hates it. Shouta wants to focus on Midoriya's impossible quirk, on the whys and hows that are running through his mind, but that's not the conversation is about right now. Not right now. No, right now, Shouta has a scared, shaking kid in front of him, one who has had the spirit beaten out of him by his old peers. Wait, no. "Kid," Shouta starts, swallowing because suddenly his throat feels too dry, yet his eyes seem far too wet. "Kid, I'm gonna ask one final question. I need you to answer me, please." He's met with silence, but that's okay. He just needs one final answer. "Was Bakugou your bully?" "No, that doesn't feel quite right." "Was he your main bully?" A pause, and then unmistakably another nod. This one paired with a muffled sob, and Midoriya pulls out the capture gear like he's trying to use it to cover up the sound, and Shota's heart shatters as so many realizations run through his head. He assumes a bully and victim relationship as a rivalry, but put Midoriya up against his bully for training practices, up against someone who enjoyed hurting him. He made Midoriya impersonate his bully for an entire day. Soon, most definitely soon, Shouta will have to fix his own mistakes. He'll have to talk with Nezu, figure out what can be done to help his kid. He'll have to investigate further into the matter and see how Bakugou even got into the entrance exams. With a past like that, it's obvious that something went wrong. With the schools they came from, at the very least, Shouta knows that there must have been a quirk-related discrimination, because Midoriya has based his entire worth off his quirk. And Shouta needs to apologize to Midoriya, properly, for having missed all the signs that seem so obvious now. But for now, it's not about that. For now, Shouta focuses on calming his student down, on helping the kid relax. And if Shouta ends up pulling the kid into a hug, letting the boy soak his shirt with tears, well, Shouta won't say a word. He'll just be here, making sure his problem child, his kid, is okay. Because right now, that's all he can ask for. He's asked enough questions as it is. Okay. Man, that's a good fic. Okay, and that was Aftermath of An Act Gone Too Far, written by Bellamont, part 3 of the Personality Swap AU. This is one of my favorite series that I've been doing. I'm honestly not sure if I'll be able to read them all, just because there's so many. But let me tell you, I'm gonna try my best here. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys next time. This is the Brooding Ghost signing off. See ya.